Hi guys, in this video what I'm going to show you is how to install WDM 4.91 using a independent SQL server. And the first thing we're going to do is browse out and grab our database out of the WDM installation folder. So I'm going to the installation folder. Here's the database folder. We're going to copy those files to our SQL server. I'm just going to paste them on the desktop for now. And we'll close that window. Then what I'm going to do is on our SQL server I'm going to browse to the actual SQL directory, data directory where the databases are housed, and I'm going to copy the database files into that directory. And we'll close that window and we'll delete the databases off the desktop. Next thing we're going to do is launch SQL Server Management Studio, and we're going to attach the databases that we just put in that directory. So we'll right click on databases, attach database, click add, and we'll find the rapport 4.mdf file. Click OK, accept. Okay, now the database is added, and I realize that I forgot to change the database name, so we're just going to update and rename it to just rapport DB. Next thing we're going to do is browse down to the security tab, and I'm just looking here, the rapport user is not established, so on the SQL Server logins we're going to go actually create that login. So we're going to do new login, we're going to name it rapport, R-A-P-P-O-R-T. Next thing we're going to do is set up SQL Server authentication for this login. We're going to apply the predefined password. I'm going to disable the enforced password policy. Then we'll go down to the default database and we'll map this user to the rapport database. Next thing we need to do is go into user mappings, map it to the database in there, and then we need to assign DB owner permissions to this user on that database. Click OK. Now we're going to modify some tables. Since this is a pre-canned database, we're going to set it up for the version of WDM that we're installing. So we'll expand tables, we'll go down to dbo.install. We'll return the rows on that table, and here we're going to input some information. So under module we're going to put rapport DB, rapport 4 DB actually, and server name. This is going to be the name of your WDM server. So in my case it's WDM test, and my fully qualified domain is .wisdemo.demo. Username, just put administrator, or you can put the username you're installing it under. Installed, put the date. So this is going to be the month, day, year, followed by the time of day. Status is going to be master, all caps. And the latest hotfix ID. So next thing we're going to do is the license table, and all we need to do here is update the sales column to include temp, basically indicating it's a temporary license, and we can disconnect from the SQL server. We have completed the setup of our SQL database. Next thing we're going to do is move over to the WDM server, and we're going to browse again to the C directory, to the setup folders. We're going to open those up, and you'll see a setup application. We're going to launch that. verifying any previous installs. Okay, now we're going to select next. This is just warning you that Server 2008 R2 has some additional security requirements. We'll click OK to accept that message. Here we're accepting the end user license agreement. And this is just some security information talking about setting up HTTPS. And here is the device manager prerequisite checker. So since we're at 75%, we have everything installed except for the one item that is checked, which is the .NET Framework 3.5 Service Pack 1. I'm just going to click install to go ahead and install it. We'll give it time to install. And it's at 100%, so everything's completed. We can choose exit. Next thing we need to do is replace the standard workgroup license key with either a sales key or a license key from your enterprise licenses so that we can start an enterprise install. Once we do that, we can select a custom install. And this is where we're allowed to connect to an external database. So in this case, I'm going to connect. You can see that my server is already selected since I've only got one SQL server in the environment, and I'm going to put in the password we assigned to the rapport user in a previous step. Here you can see that WDM database is grayed out because it's already installed, and we're going to go ahead and install all the other services. And the first thing WDM will do is configure IIS role services. I have not pre-configured any IIS, so it actually set that up for us. Here you're selecting the repository protocols you want to use. I'm going to go ahead and leave FTP and HTTP, and for ease of use I'm just going to allow anonymous access. I'll leave basic authentication, and I'm going to let Wyse configure the repository server. Click next. And it's going to take a minute to configure FTP services. And once that's done, now we'll click install. This is going to actually launch the WDM portion of the install. Okay, and WDM runs a device manager post-install checker, and you see that everything was successful except for HTTPS, and we expect that HTTPS is actually not installed until a later stage. You have to manually configure it, and there are steps to do that in the administrator guide in an appendix, so you can do that at a later point. We'll exit and yes, we want to reboot the computer. Alright, my computer's rebooted. We're logging back in. And now we're going to launch WDM 4.91 from the desktop. We're going to click on Wyse Device Manager. We see that it's successfully connected to the database. We'll click OK. And we'll expand it. We're getting an application error here, and I'll show you how to resolve that in a minute. That's related to the licensing, so we'll just need to apply a license. And I'm just expanding the various modules. So take a look and make sure things look right. And under Configuration Manager, we're going to test the software repositories. This is always a good thing to do. Just make sure they're communicating and functioning correctly. and both FTP and HTTP passed. Close that. Okay, so when I click licensing, you see that same error again. We're going to actually apply a license here. And I'm inserting a sales key. You get a non-activated key back, and then if we click on properties, you'll see the www.rapportlicensing.com site. You need to go to that site and actually request your activation key. So I'm putting in my information, populated it. We'll need the sales key. We need the unactivated key as given. And we'll get an activation code. So we'll simply type that code in the box. Click next, and we've activated a license key. And I'm going to close down WDM and reopen it just to show you that that error message will go away. And this is a notification that you have not yet set up secure access again. Again, that's in the administration guide in an appendix. And under WDM preferences, I just like to go in and verify that the server port settings show the fully qualified domain name of the server. That's it. Click OK. You can close it, and that's the end of my video.